we got to talk about something that's taken the community by storm. Not in an exciting way for many people, but the InArt Aragorn. So there's like a backstory to this because this was going to be a figure that they were going to show at Vegas, but then there were like multiple stories about how it got broke. Maybe it didn't make the trip. Maybe it wasn't ready to be shown. Well, now Queen InArt is actually in Thailand at an event, and they showed the Aragorn, the sculpted version from the Lord of the Rings. So this is the sculpted version of InArt Aragorn 1/6. So I want to ask the panel here, and I'll go last on this one, how disappointed you are, if any, on a scale of 1 to Ant-Man. How disappointed are you in this InArt Aragorn? Because I've seen mostly negative responses, I feel like, to this. So I want to start with you, Shane, again on this one. With this InArt Aragorn, are you a Lord of the Rings fan? I can't remember.
I'm a fair weather Lord of the Rings fan.
Okay.
I haven't read the books, but I've watched the movies multiple times, and I've been to New Zealand 3 times because I go to snowboard and stuff. So every time, like if I book a trip to New Zealand, I'll watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy at least once, just to admire the landscape and get psyched, like, you know. So but I don't have the Lord of the Rings eye. So sometimes I see something like this and I feel like I'm not entitled to an opinion. I'm not disappointed because I know I was never going to get it. However, I can empathize with the diehard fans who were waiting for this, and this doesn't look good. This is like you know that meme, like new number, who this? This is like new head sculpt, who this? Like it's just I don't see Viggo Mortensen in this, and I think this is the first thing that InArt have shown us that is like, ooh, because everyone lost their minds over the Joker, the initial photos. Everyone lost their minds over the initial photos of Batman. The Pennywise was great, and Gandalf, maybe there were some things that initially didn't add up to it, but it was still closer to Ian McKellen and this as to Vigo. I don't think there was anything. They say there was like markings on a sword that was wrong, and then other people said it got damaged. I'd say Justin took one look at this and said, "Lads, you don't want to show that."
And they showed it anyways.
It's yeah, this is but like maybe it's the early stages of the prototype.
Yeah, because Shane, what if I showed you a couple of things here? So this was, I think John might have took this video. This is someone holding it in hand. Oh, sorry. Let me see if I can get back to it real quick. It won't let me close the window. So this is someone holding it in hand and showing it. It looks a lot better. So it's interesting. It's all about the angles and the lighting, I feel like. And then there was this. This is actually the head sculpt that was shown. Like someone, I think it's one of the artists painting it. And there it looks better too. And then they showed, this is the rooted one apparently. Like a mocked up version, right? That looks a lot better to me too. So
is that like the master sculpt or what?
Yeah, maybe. But it's like, it's interesting to see kind of how this shakes out. Because at least from what, because you can see Joao's name, at least from what we are understanding that this is the InArt one, we think anyway. So the rooted one, I think could do wonders for this, kind of like all the figures. I mean, I think every figure they've shown so far has been better rooted. But it's interesting. And that's why, like, I'm with you guys when I see the lighting and I see the pictures of at the event, and I'm like, huh, that's off, right? Undeniably. But when I see this and I see like even the in-hand one from the event, I'm like, well, it's not that bad. So I don't know. What do you?
Maybe if this was popped on, like, see that? Am I looking at a sculpted there? It's hard to tell. That's sculpt, is it?
Yeah. See, because that's at the event. That's at the event, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's promise there, but it's not. It's that picture is not perfect for sure.
The rooted, I think, looks better because see the way, you know, his hair comes down over his face.
Right.
That can be kind of tricky to achieve. Whereas if character has like a ponytail or something, it might be a bit easier to achieve because it's not covering up their face, where that looks like almost a hood.
Right. And we do have to remember, this is probably going to be like $450. I mean, it's not going to be cheap.
Yeah,
so
the rooted hair looks better. Sorry, should I say? Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Because I think it, you know, I would probably get the rooted myself. I think most people probably will at this point, but I don't know. What do you think, Marco? What do you think about this Aragorn? Like when you see these pictures and you see the event, do you have conflicting views? What do you think?
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to Ant-Man, how disappointed I am. You know, I'm not like a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I do really have a lot of love for the original trilogy. Obviously, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm about a 5, I would say. I think just nothing about the figure, from the sculpt to, everything about the tailoring, like, just jumps out at me as like extremely superior. And right now, since InArt's in their infancy, they're really trying to prove like, okay, we're the top dogs. This is going to be the best of the best. We're going to justify the price point. And I feel like I understand now why they may have pulled the figure. Like, it just doesn't feel ready to show. Now, I think with some minor tune-ups, it could really be a beautiful figure. I think the sculpt is close enough that they can get it tightened up and it'll look really nice. The sash, I don't know how like screen accurate it is, but it just doesn't look that impressive right here. So yeah, I think that, with time, with some energy, it'll get reconfigured and ultimately be a good release. But will it justify the $450 price point? I have my doubts on that. And I think they should have probably shelved this one and then moved up another release, something that maybe was, a bit more impressive. Now, I get it's tricky because they're trying to fund the company and they've obviously got to have a positive cash flow with the NRDs. And so, yeah, things are tricky in terms of a timing perspective, and they only have so many resources to create these prototypes. But I think that this one needs a lot more work before it was ready for prime time. And we've been pretty hard on InArt for their messaging, kind of conflicting messaging, images that get shown that don't necessarily show the figures in the best light that are released by them. And so I think they just need to tighten things up really severely and just put their best foot forward in terms of, the words they choose and the images they put out, because it is at a delicate point in time where collectors are a bit scared right now because there's a lot of money on the line. And if these don't come out really S tier, then I could see a lot of folks backing out. So I would just hope that they're spend a lot more time to improve this prototype and then also are just more cautious moving forward overall.
Yeah, and I do get what you guys are saying, because when I look at this picture and I look at this would be a disappointing proto, no doubt about it. But it's funny, like I said, when I look at the in-hand one, or I look at the rooted one, apparently, like I'm much more happy with that. And I think that sculpt looks like a 9 almost. But when I see this, I'm thinking it's like a 7.5. Like it's disappointing. And for the price you would pay for this, you're right, it's not S tier, Marco. So, I think a lot of people, if this were the final product, a lot of people would be disappointed. A lot of people. This, at least with this lighting, it kind of looks like maybe a little bit above 3.0, something like that. So, but you're not, but 3.0, you're paying like under $200 typically. And then this, you'd be paying twice that. So I do think InArt's going to listen to this feedback. I think they monitor things pretty closely. So yeah, this lighting with this picture is off, no doubt about it. And the other sculpts from this same event look really good. So this is, maybe Bruce Wayne needs a little bit of work, but this one is the weak link of those. But yeah, I don't know. I think the rooted sculpt will take this one over the top. I think that's going to be really important for this one personally. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, the rooting really could, move this over the top. And I feel like this is a figure that really warrants that rooting. Yeah. The longevity of how often you have to brush it is still, up for debate. That's what I'm scared of with the rooted 2-pack Joker. I don't necessarily want to be futzing with the hair all the time, but yeah, I think the rooted will probably be stronger for this figure.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you think, Shane? Do you think rooted is hopefully the way to go for this one?
Oh yeah, I'd say with a character with hair this long, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I mean, it's different, say, with the Patterson Batman. He has, significantly shorter hair. This is like, this guy's hair is slightly longer than the Joker, really. Yeah, so I think the rooted would be good to go. And I think even like the rooted, the way it's kind of wet, I think my memories from Fellowship of the Ring when they first meet him, his hair is wet. And
yeah.
So yeah,
his hair pretty much always looks greasy or wet.
Yeah, exactly. This looks like a big rubber band, though.
Yeah.
I gotta look at the film and look at it again.
This is like S tier packaging. They really want to pack in everything, like. But yeah, I don't recall that, but it was dark a lot of the time, I suppose. And like I said, I don't have the Lord of the Rings eye. I need to go back and watch it again and again.
Yeah, I got to watch it again. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how this shakes out. But yeah, I can see why people are disappointed. So, no doubt about it.